Hey everyone, it's Bob Hartwell again, and I'm really excited about making this video because it's come from a conversation I had today with my office manager. We were talking about a couple that we know that's looking for a home and had been debating whether they wanted to buy a home or rent a home. And when he mentioned that to me, I thought, now, why would they not buy? And then I started thinking, okay, well, a first-time home buyer or people who are in apartments oftentimes don't know the reasons to buy and don't know the benefits. So I really wanted to make this about the benefits of renting, of owning versus renting, and the financial deficit you put yourself in when you rent as opposed to buy. So I put a few numbers together here, and it's pretty significant stuff. The first thing I looked at here was how much would they be paying in rent? And if they're paying $1,000 in rent, that's the equivalent of buying a home at a $200,000 price range, which means that they can make payments on a $200,000 home at $1,000 a month, as opposed to spending $12,000 in rent for the year and getting zero equity out of it. In fact, if you rent that home for a year, you have zero equity. If you rent it for 5 years, you still have zero equity. And in 10 years, guess what? Zero equity. If you own the home, for example, a home that is let's say $1,200 in rent, it's a $240,000 home. And in a matter of 5 years, with a very conservative 3% appreciation rate, just the appreciation is over $15,000. Not to mention the amount of money that you put down and the tax benefits. Take that one step further and say a $1,500 rental would allow you to buy a $300,000 home for the same payment. And in a matter of 5 years, you would build $47,700 in equity, again, using that same very conservative 3% number in appreciation, not including tax write-offs and not including the amount of money you put down. It's really significant when you start thinking about it. While we were talking, we even talked about a guy that he knows that makes in excess of $100,000, and he's renting an apartment in an upscale area of Atlanta. I don't know how big the apartment is. My assumption that unless he's paying an awful lot of money, he's probably in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment paying at least $1,500 a month. And again, as I said a minute ago, that affords a $300,000 house, which in 5 years gains you nearly $50,000 in equity. So I wanted to make sure that people know that there's a huge financial advantage to owning over renting. And some of you will say it's hard to find these homes at $200,000 and $250,000 and $265,000, and that's a fair statement. And that's why you hire a professional real estate agent like myself. The last thing I really want to tell you here is this: that over your lifetime, it may not seem significant in the short term, but in the long term, it's very significant. I told him a story about a loved one of mine who has been leasing for almost 30 years. And she did that because she just really didn't want to go through what she said is, I don't want the maintenance and I don't want the headaches and all that kind of thing. But when I started looking at the numbers, with the amount of money that she paid in lease year over year for 30 years, it came to $420,000 in rent alone that she does not have any equity from. Not to mention the appreciation of the market in that period of time. And when we broke that down, it was well over $500,000. So it was a real slap in the face for me, and I just thought, wow, I've got to make this video because people need to know this. Keep in mind that professional real estate agents do this on a daily basis. We are trained to find these homes, and we are trained to help you get your financial future started. I hope that this makes sense to some of you, and I hope that if it does, that you call your local real estate agent, or call me for that matter, and I can refer you to somebody that's really good in your area. In the Atlanta area, Bob Hartwell's the name, real estate's my game. I'd love to help you out. I'd like to get you started on your financial future today. Talk to you soon.